9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Alien Pro Podcast. It is December 10th, 2022. I'm Doug. I'm joined today by Dr. Bill.
Hello.
Amazon Prime is delivering a package to my door.
Yeah, are you watching? I can see
for someone to steal.
I can see the delivery and the reflection of your glasses.
Can you see that?
No.
Yeah, I can see them there.
Yeah, I can see the reflection. The delivery truck.
Let's see how big the package is.
What are you expecting from Amazon? Is it valuable?
I order if it isn't a UFO book, it's
It's a UFO
parts book. Parts to podcast stuff. There's a couple packages.
Oh.
Debbie ordered something.
Oh.
Debbie ordered an actual book this week from. Have you heard of Mark and Brian? It was an AM show. So she follows a podcast about one of them. She bought an actual paper book, and normally she doesn't do actual books. I know you like the feel of it. That you like the feel of the paper.
The pleasure of the paper. Yeah, they're I noticed that when I was out there when I was allowed to visit several years ago.
When you're not allowed out here, it's your problem.
I noticed that she was a big e-reader. I did that for a while. Well, I do read.
She ordered a regular book, and it's autographed by the guy.
Oh, nice. Oh,
man.
Thanks.
And so it got my curiosity up as to why she would do that. I was a little curious, but whatever. So how's it going? What's going on? It's storming here, so I'm not missing anything.
Something going on with Debbie and the guy the shock jock.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, something's going on there. It's storming. You said it was windy. You had like really gusty winds.
50-mile-an-hour gusts, and it's raining pretty good right now. My pool's almost overflowing, so I'll have to do a super drain on it maybe. But my pool pump, one of my pool pumps. These are real problems for.
These are.
My pool pump went out.
My pool pump went out. It was the maid's day off. It was hell.
Yeah,
hell.
I know. It's really weird. Yeah, it's a really weird week. And the technicians,
I had to go outside.
Scorched my board when they fixed it.
That's too bad. Well, they fixed it. I mean,
my automation fixed it immediately, but that was pretty cool.
Did you have to reprogram everything, or is that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a pain.
The supervisor that works for me did a great job. Still shout out. He fixed it immediately. He had an extra board in his truck and he just threw it on.
Well, it happens. Computer chips are easy to fry.
Yeah, it was an accident. It was just a weird accident. So it got fixed, but he had to reschedule all the stuff when it goes on.
Well, at least he did that. You didn't have to do that. That was good.
I did a good job supervising, which is what I like a homeowner standing over them,
shouting at him.
What are you doing?
You're shouting at him.
What are you doing? You can have this fixed today, right? I want to use my spa tonight.
You shout at him.
It's
and make sure you set the timers correctly.
I go inside and Debbie's like, "Are we going to be able to use the spa tonight?" And I'm like, "I don't think I'm going to ask them if they're going to hurry up and get the fix.
I'm not going to
get it done.
They're having a bad day. I'm not going to make it worse.
They're having a good day out there.
I'm not going to make it worse.
I'm not going to act like a freaking homeowner that they have to deal with 7 times a day.
Why not?
So
it's a lived experience.
Yeah, they know that it's probably important to have my stuff up and running, and they did an excellent job at it.
Okay.
So
have you tested everything? Did you check for leaks?
All the people that work for me do an excellent job.
Did you check for leaks? Is your pool leaking?
My pool's not leaking. Can't talk about anything about work. That's it.
All right.
I don't want. I'm in a good mood.
So we are being limited. YouTube is limiting us. Because we're shocking.
Because we're shocking.
Shocking. We said something shocking.
I want everybody to know that's listening is that we were going to do some advertising on a platform, and then we were shot down because our content was shocking. Last week, and I'm not quite sure.
I can't remember
what was shocking.
It's like we're talking about moon crap.
Well, we talked about the moon being hollow, possibly, and coming from another universe.
Shocking.
Bringing a civilization and then replanting them on the earth.
Shocking.
We talked about so this episode will not be
Will not be shocking.
Now we're talking about the episode that's being
Oh
shocking.
no, we're going to talk about Hercolubus, which is a
and that's going to make it bad. Nobody wants.
Shocking.
No, we don't want that out there either. People they're going to start doing their astral projections.
Yes.
So Hercolubus.
Hercolubus. You want to talk about that?
Hercolubus. Yeah, let's start off on Hercolubus. We've got that in Flat Earth either way.
So where did Hercolubus come from? Where did you get this?
Hercolubus, where did I get it?
Where did you get it?
I got it from one of our YouTube followers. Excuse me, not YouTube, our Facebook at Alien Pro Podcast. You can see our Facebook. We have put our episodes on that, and he sent me a PDF copy of this book. It was a good 40-minute. Did you read it all?
Yeah, I read it this morning. Yeah.
How long did it take? How long did it take you to read it?
I don't know, an hour maybe. It's 45 pages. It didn't take that long. It's a quick, but I was getting up and doing things.
About 35 minutes.
Yeah, I got up and was up and down and I'd read it and stuff. It was a quick read.
It started out interesting about how Hercolubus is a gigantic red planet that's streaking towards Earth, and it's going to destroy the Earth, and that. I mean, that's the gist of it. It's going to destroy her. So with that, it talks about that this person has seen people on Mars and Venus and what it's like to live there.
It was
and that
cool descriptions. He
creative.
really slammed scientists, which I think is a positive. Scientists can deny this with their theories.
Aren't you a scientist? You're a scientist, Bill. You think, why is that good?
Speaking of which, we listened to a podcast by Gary Nolan, and he actually said most scientists are idiots with the podcast he just did.
Which you enjoyed.
I did enjoy that. But
this episode isn't going to get sponsored either.
Shocking.
Scientist.
And then
shocking that you said scientist.
And then even Jim Watson in his book that he wrote on the discovery of the DNA helix, his first sentence says that most scientists are stupid. So this book, he spends a lot of time saying that scientists are stupid in this book, which is fine. It's good. Everyone has a right to their opinion because we live in a country where free speech is the first something of the Constitution.
No, it's not.
What is?
They shoot us down. It doesn't apply to us, right?
It doesn't apply to us. It doesn't apply to anybody. It's like, oh my God. It's like the Twitter stuff where it's like the government is not allowed and it's illegal for the government to interfere with the speech of its citizens in the United States. And what's been coming out from Twitter is that the government was actively involved with people at Twitter to suppress public speech in the United States in direct violation of the Constitution. So our constitutional rights are being denied all the time. And that comes up in the Flat Earth thing that we just watched too. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, this was the guy that wrote this was Colombian, and he was a Gnostic. I looked up his background this morning. He was Gnostic, and he wrote this, I guess, when he was near the end of his life.
Is he dead?
He is dead. And
his physical body is
his physical body is gone. He has gone on in his astral projection. It's not bad. It's there have been other people talking about these beliefs that there's a planet coming to destroy Earth, and it's the usual stuff. It's like I'm really against the aliens coming to visit and preventing nuclear war or saving the ecology, because I'm a strong believer that the aliens couldn't care less about they might care about the ecology, but they why would they care? I mean, if we blow ourselves up, it's like they got a free planet. So
I think I don't necessarily agree, but
free planet.
I think they were here the whole time. And
they're the whole time.
They're inside the planet. It's hollow. We're in not totally hollow, but they can get in.
Hollow.
And they've been here and observing for eons.
Throughout
our history,
I don't know.
We've had them here. And so now we're doing things that might possibly blow the entire planet up, and they don't really think that's a good idea.
Then why?
And these guys,
why haven't
they came from the hollow earth? And then when civilization started, then they went inside.
Why haven't they stopped our nuclear proliferation? Or maybe they have. Maybe they've been quietly working behind the scenes to reduce. They're responsible for the nuclear weapons treaty with Russia to reduce our weapons.
Yeah, of course they were.
Although China is really ramping up their nuclear arsenal. That's a good sign. And
that's not a good sign.
And then I guess the rhetoric with our government has this is shocking and will be suppressed.
It's shocking.
This information will be suppressed. It will be suppressed. That I guess the rhetoric on the news is really toned down about going to nuclear war with Russia. Maybe our leaders have discovered that the population doesn't like the idea as much as they do, which is shocking.
Well, we don't really want to go to war with them. We just want them to be our puppet war over there, so we can go in Ukraine. There's launch stuff back and forth to Ukraine and blow it up. And what's new in the Ukraine, Bill?
I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of the news, and I don't care anymore. And the only thing I've heard is that Russia has 300,000 troops in the occupied areas, and the Ukraine army. This is from a former CIA analyst. The Ukraine army has been diminished to about 200,000 because of casualties and whatever. Probably
That's still a lot.
Well, when the war started, on paper they had 1 million troops. When they attacked Donbass or Russia, they were getting ready to. They built up to 1 million troops. Yeah. They were getting ready to attack the Donbass when Russia did a preemptive strike, preemptive invasion, because they attacked before Ukraine could attack the Donbass, and Ukraine supposedly had a massive army of 1 million troops with all these tanks and all this stuff ready to go, and then Russia acted. So I don't know what's going on. I don't care. We need to enrich our politicians by laundering money through Ukraine. That is what is important. Getting our tax dollars, our taxes need to be washed through Ukraine. It's important. And this is shocking.
Well, as long as we have our priorities.
Shocking. This is shocking. We must repress
We're giving them money. We're giving them money, and it's like, it's kind of funny because I was researching where you said, why did we stop going to the moon in the 70s all of a sudden? And then I was reading about it, and you kind of insinuated, we don't really know. But there was too many. It cost too much money. It just cost too much money to go there.
Yeah,
we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, it's too expensive. We don't have the money for anything except
we did Skylab. Well, we converted to Skylab.
Skylab was a joke.
Well, we're going to go into space, but just not quite as far. That one's kind of
The only reason I think we even have a space station jointly with the Russians, although the Americans and Russians haven't talked to each other on the space station for ages, apparently. It's like the kids that fight over the bedroom. They got a tape down the middle of the thing or something.
Do they really?
Yeah. And an American astronaut actually sabotaged, according to the Russians, the escape capsule. Because this astronaut was homesick, didn't want to be up there anymore, and took a drill and drilled a hole in the escape capsule, hoping to cause an evacuation from the space station. This is a report from Russia. So we're sending our best and our brightest. But then the U.S. goes, no, you're lying. And they're going, well, who else drilled our escape capsule?
Did it really happen?
I saw pictures. I saw pictures of the hole drilled in the
hole. I saw pictures. Makita there.
Yeah, sitting there with fingerprints. They DNA tested the drill, and it came up with the astronaut. That's some crazy stuff.
Yeah. Wait, okay, I'm going to jump off, which I do. Jump off topic. Orion's coming down tomorrow.
Oh, on the 11th, yeah. That's a short. I thought it was supposed to be
landing at night. It's landing at 9:20 my time at night.
I don't know. And then they're supposed to leave it out there for like an hour while they do systems checks and measure the cooling.
Float around the ocean.
Yeah, there'll be a ship. They're going to do. They want to measure heat dissipation of the heat shield, and how the temperature changes as it sits for an hour, and do systems checks before they pull it into the ship.
I think it'll cool off pretty fast once it hits the water.
Yeah, but they want data. They want to get the, because what they said in the news conference at NASA is that it radiates a lot of heat internally to the capsule. Once it's heats up, it gets up to, I don't know how much, thousands of degrees. And so it actually will retain heat, which will radiate into the capsule even after it lands in the ocean, which will cool it. But they want to measure the amount of heat that radiates into the capsule, and they want to keep it sealed and get that data before they pull it in and open it up. Because, they're doing a lot of stuff they're doing with this stuff is to test systems. They were doing something else when they they were like maneuvering the solar panels and doing other odd things just to see how the systems had degraded over time during the mission. And so they're doing a lot of extra stuff just to get data on the systems. And I think they're pushing stuff a little bit because they want to see if they can break it. So they did have a weird anomaly though, where they had a bunch of I don't know what they are. There's like switches for that power that communicate between different systems, and they have like 3 out of 4 just went down when they were at LOS on the moon. And
the aliens,
yeah, when LOS, and they had 3 of these 4 systems just went down, and so they had to like reset them. And they had the one system was still up, so everything was fine, and it's very redundant. But they're like. Didn't affect the mission, but they just had stuff that shut down inexplicably, and they want to try and determine what's going on with that, which is why you do these runs. They also just got, excuse me, I'm belching up Dr. Pepper. They
oh, nice.
They also got they just announced the contracts have been announced for Artemis 3 and 4 for the rockets. And Artemis 2 will be, I guess the motors for Artemis 2, the lower stage motors are being delivered to NASA as we speak.
They're only in they're in the field right behind there. And they just get them out and they squirt them off with a hose. And
little WD-40 and then put them in there.
Well, you have to oil them up a little bit, make sure stuff's still working. And then they just glue them onto the bottom of the rocket pumps. And you're good to go. I mean, why build a new one, right? I mean, it's a little stupid.
Well, 3 and 4, I think they're going to have to build a lot of the new stuff. So anyway, the contracts are set for Artemis 3 and 4.
Well, and SpaceX is building the lander, right? They're not building the launch.
SpaceX and Bezos is building a lander. The lawsuits flew around and people cried and pooped their pants, and so Bezos got a lander and SpaceX got a lander. It's like
I thought they didn't do Bezos. I thought they ended up blowing him up and saying, "No, we're just doing SpaceX."
I don't know. Last I heard, they originally blew him off, said SpaceX, and then there was like a lot of crying and gnashing of teeth, and probably lawyers back and forth. And I think they agreed to do Bezos and SpaceX. We can verify that. No, I know the Pentagon
we'll figure it out in like 5 years.
Yeah. They said they haven't built anything yet. It's like the Pentagon just got a massive contract for cloud storage. That's a good idea. And they awarded it to Oracle, Amazon, Microsoft, and another company because all these companies, are like suing or threatening to sue and crying about it. But then there's redundancy in that, so that's fine. So they just awarded a massive contract for cloud storage, for the encrypted cloud storage for the Pentagon for worldwide communications.
Well, good.
Yeah, perfect. That's sort of the tech news.
Okay, so that's our Orions. So anyway, back to this guy's book.
VM Rabolú.
sound less underwhelmed. So anyway, it took me about 35 minutes to read it, and it's a quick read. But you said this is something that's kind of been out there.
People have talked about the strange planet coming in and doing things. It's been thrown around.
Yeah, well, and then this astral project. Anyway, so he visits this. He says he's visited Venus and Mars. He talks about. We're not going to get into the details, but. And then he says that we need to do in order for us to survive the hit from Hercolubus, whatever his name is. The hit from Hercolubus.
Oompa Loompa.
Red planet. It's called the red. I don't know why they call it the red planet, because the red planet is Mars. So I don't know why.
It's Oompa Loompas or red planet. Oompa Loompas or red. No, it's Hercolubus or red planet.
Hercolubus.
Well, I mean, there's a positive message to this. I mean, it's the usual thing. It's like, protect the environment. Don't nuke us. Be a good person. So there's definitely a positive message in this book.
He doesn't like sex, though. You talked about on the other planets that they don't have sex. They just said that that's not a thing with them because it's an ego, because that destroys the fabric of the positive vibe that's
POE.
The other planets.
It's POE.
So you don't have that physical type of sex there.
POE, peace on earth and purity of essence.
Yeah. So
purity of essence.
Not crazy about that idea. But anyway, so
purity of essence. That's from Dr. Strangelove. POE.
Oh, really?
Yeah, purity of essence.
So you said that you're familiar with the astral. I haven't really done a lot of research on astral projection. I know that's
Well, you could also call it distance viewing, like Hal Puthoff, that physicist that worked with Bigelow and seems to be highly regarded with the Skinwalker early on and things like that. He says he can do astral projection, but calls it remote viewing.
Yeah, I was discussing this week about how, my let me see, would be my youngest son. He thinks that it would be interesting.
What's his name? What's my youngest son's name? I don't. Derpy.
I'm not going to tell you.
Floopy. I can't remember my kid's name. Which one? I don't know which one it is.
I'm not going to mention his name on the show.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Do you know his name? Do you know his name? Do you remember his name?
I can't remember his name. Yeah.
I can't remember my son's name.
So I just say my youngest son.
Yeah.
So he believes that as he's going to sleep, how you'll have that weird in between, your kind of mid dream sleep thing where you see you in your mind or whatever. He thinks that's he says that's, and it's interesting because he's not a huge subscriber to our podcast Vision.
It's an altered state.
A different dimension almost, and so ever since he said that, when that go through that, I kind of, and you can think, it's like you completely can think about it, and by the way, I'll tell you about the dream I had about Steve, our friend. He was swimming in the ocean.
Did it involve
nudity? No. Well, I don't think so. Might have.
I dreamt of you.
I didn't see that part. He was in the ocean.
I'm going to have to contact
and I
HR.
Saw this giant.
I'm going to have to contact HR if you're talking about dreaming about your people.
Yeah, I know. So he had this jellyfish and had this big, long, one of its things, whatever they call them, was, probably because I went to the, aquarium.
The aquarium, yeah. But so you had jellyfish.
They have a lot of jellyfish. I touched a jellyfish too, by the way.
Ew.
I don't know why they allow that, but probably because there's a lot of them. If they die, they don't care.
Yeah, they get those swarms on the coast, so it's easy just to scoop them up. So it's no harm. And they're, I know the ones you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of, anyway, so I saw him swimming, and then the frond or whatever the thing was with its tentacle caught him, and he got stung by this jellyfish. And So he's in the infirmary, wherever this is, and it's all white in this
Hey,
infirmary.
let me pause this for just a second. I need to...
Okay.
Let me do this. All right, we're back. Yeah, sorry, the ceiling fan was squeaking. It was driving me crazy. I needed to turn it off. Okay, so Steve's in the infirmary.
So he's
it's
in
all
the
white.
infirmary. It's all white, and he's laying in this, on this bed. And there's this robotic voice that just keeps asking questions and giving him instructions. And it prefaced everyone by saying, the adolescent this, or the adolescent should do that.
The adolescent should do this. The adolescent.
Yeah, it was like the adolescent, like he's not, and I couldn't get it was like inside I'm thinking, I need to say he's not an adolescent. Why are we why are we talking?
These AI doctors are terrible. They're just absolutely terrible. I mean, you can't trust them. So
we won't be able to, where were we anyway? So anyway, we're talking about astral projection. So what's your read on astral projection? Because I know in this book it tells how, and I'm going to actually tell how to get into astral projection, and beginning to gain the true wisdom, which is neither written in books nor taught in universities anywhere, Bill.
Oh, it's I think it has something to do with the Gnostic religion, Gnostic. I think it has a tie-in with that. So the author, from what I can tell, was into Gnosticism. So this is part of that belief system, that religion. So yeah, otherwise, I don't know. I know my grandmother believed in astral projection because I remember asking her about that when I was a kid, and because I, saw something in one of her books, and the only thing she says is that if you do astral projection, you need to make sure that you protect your body, because when you're gone, something else can come in there and take over.
That's weird.
That is weird. So it's like, and I'm
like,
what?
What's going to take over?
I don't know. She's like, something else.
Demon's going to take over.
Yeah, something else will go in there and take you over. You're gone. You're out projecting somewhere. And then something new is living in your body. So I've always been afraid of astral projection since she told me that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was
the book.
So I haven't tried it.
Well, it's got a thing that I don't know if you look, I'm sure you saw in the end of it. It says you can do it by, do this every night. Hopefully you will do it every night. It's mantra, la, ra, es. This mantra is,
you got to roll the R's.
So that, how do you roll an R?
La,
la, la, la,
there you go. Just stop. Just stop. Please stop. Please stop.
You afraid we're going to go into astral projection right on the
show?
I'm
going to launch, and then things will just get dark.
Another
at that
mantra for projecting the astral body is fa ra on, and you got to go fa ra on.
Keep doing it. Doing it 10 times, and then do it mentally, and then you will project.
And then you can jump up
a meter.
With little intention of floating, and then you can float up into the air.
And you do it. So try it.
Gnostic church. It'll take you to the Gnostic church.
Does it say Gnostic?
So,
and the chastity, he calls the chastity the energy of scientific chastity, POE, purity of essence. So,
and you'll notice the inner father immediately to take you to the Gnostic church or to place where you would like to know about. Do it daily, as often as you can enter the day.
Well, I mean, there's
while you're working or wherever you are, and you will see the results.
There is positive things. So he's basically, you can take a positive message from this. He's saying meditate for improvement. Nuclear war is bad. Spiritual improvement is a positive, which is true. So there is a positive message from it. But this isn't an unusual story. I was talking about early on when we started doing this, the book Unbroken Promises about the Tallahassee 5 or Pensacola 5 or whatever they were.
Gulfstream 5.
Cold Spring 5.
Gulf Stream.
Yeah, and they
Gulf Breeze.
Gulf Breeze 5. Those army guys that ran off with
that they abandoned their post.
Yeah, it was a really weird story.
Overseas, they were over in Germany or something, right over by the Soviet border.
Yeah, and so I got the old border, and the before Germany was unified.
Yeah.
So the guy I bought a copy of the book that one of the ringleaders of this Gulf Breeze 5 had written, and the guy that sold it to me was in Oregon, in Southern Oregon, and there was a spiritual center in Corvallis or someplace like that. I don't remember where it was. And he bought a storage room, I guess at an auction, that had the library from this spiritual center. And it also had a lot of pamphlets, and many of these pamphlets were talking exactly about this sort of spiritual communication type things.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll dig them out. I don't know where they are. They're around here in the pile of books and stuff. I was looking for them. I couldn't find them earlier. But that's not an uncommon thing that people, sort of the UFO story came about as, since we weren't actually seeing anything happening, all of a sudden you had people doing sort of a spiritual communication with aliens. Along with...
Wow.
Yeah.
Was this a 70s thing?
This is a 70s thing.
Hippie. Well, a hippie.
Yeah, it's the hippie stuff, and the
out on the whatever, not go out on the whatever, the commune or wherever.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, where people are doing this in California and Oregon, the whole hippie spiritual stuff. And one of the pamphlet that the guy sent that I was looking at, he sent me a couple of them. Because he's got a ton of them, and he's trying to encourage you to get you interested in buying more.
Right.
Was talking about the moon landing had just happened. So like this thing was going on about how this spiritualist or communicator was talking with space aliens in the upper atmosphere about the moon landing. And the writing is on the level of this book. It's sort of a ramble, but I'll dig it out. I'll see if I can find it. I know I didn't get rid of it. It's stuck here somewhere. And I can talk about it next time. We can talk about the communication with the space aliens after the moon landing, which is topical.
Well, there's a lot of separated people that believe in the UFOs and the aliens. Maybe we should start our own sect about, unify all the people that believe in UFOs and extraterrestrials, because they're just so segmented and separated across Earth. And we can start our own. We can start
religion.
Religion, the UFO religion. I'm sure there's already one out there.
Well,
but
all the
our belief.
Well, that was happening. There's a guy in Switzerland that
the church, UFO church.
There's a guy in Switzerland that sort of developed I can't remember his name, but developed a spiritual church. There was the guy at early on. Interesting. He was the guy we talked about. I can't remember his name. Near Palomar at the base of the mountain. He had a little diner, and he was a world
Adamski's thing.
Yeah, Adamski. He sort of built a spiritual movement around his thing. Many people have done it at different times, and some of the stuff is still like that. I think the government has spent a lot of time with the negative component of people believing in UFOs and stuff like that. So you had all this media manipulation that people that believe in this stuff are nutty. So that discourages people from developing sort of a like a church or something like that. I guess the government spent a lot of time, and as they do with many things these days, trying to prevent organization of people to form a religion like Scientology, and or any.
That worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it worked out good for many people, and but there are active, there's active forces that try to in this country that try to prevent anybody from stepping out of the accepted thought belief systems or whatever it is. Yeah, I was reading.
Now is the time.
Now is the time. I was reading an article about these guys that were just trying to publish a comic book this morning. and it's a nothing comic book, and they were doing. It's just about a Hispanic vigilante on the border who. I mean, it's along the same lines as that movie.
A comic book.
It's a graphic. They're trying to raise money for a comic book and for a graphic novel, and it's the same type of story as. Oh, it just came out with that guy that did the God. He's done he's this actor. He's that Scottish or Irish actor that does all those movies about Taken, like his daughter was kidnapped, and I have this skill. Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
He just did another one where he's like rescuing this.
Always the same.
Yeah, he was just in another movie where he rescued a little boy at the border, and the cartels are chasing him around, and he's like a Marine sniper or something like that. I can't remember. I watched like 10 minutes of it. Yeah. And this group, these guys are just trying to publish a comic that is essentially a similar type story. Except the protagonist, instead of being a Scottish, or I don't want to mislabel him. I don't know what Liam Neeson. He's Scottish, I guess.
Don't tell the end. We don't want to ruin it for everybody.
He's Scottish or Irish. I don't know. That's terrible that I don't know. But the I don't know. I'm sure he gets the bad guys in the movie. So this people are just trying to do this comic book, and then somebody started like in a campaign against them and got their fundraising things canceled.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, and it's like they're, and it's like an attack on, I want to say, people of artists of color or whatever, but they've really hammered, and then these organizations like these fundraising sites are just going along with the people that are attacking them, and and it's, I don't know what's going on with this stuff, but Twitter is is okay with them, the bad people attacking these creators, and the fundraising sites are just going along with it, and it's like, you look what they were trying to do, and it was just like it's the same as this. It's the same plot as this movie with Liam Neeson, except instead of a white guy as the lead, it's a Hispanic guy, and they're shutting it down. And it's like, why isn't this? Why they're attacking? Weird. I mean, yeah, and it's, of course, it's it's weird. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, what are they doing? It's like I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore. It's like it's like YouTube saying, "We're shocking." We're shocking.
Or they put on one of they tagged. I don't remember which one it was. They tagged. We were talking about COVID, I think, and they'll put this little disclaimer. Oh no, it was a Kennedy assassination.
Kennedy. Oh, you mean
they didn't want that. We couldn't do that one either.
Yeah,
they didn't want us to do that one because we talked about the conspiracies that are involved in the assassination.
Yeah, if they
and then we had one for COVID, and they actually put a little banner on COVID because we were talking shit about COVID.
An area. Oh, that comes up in the. We should start talking about Flatlanders 3.
Okay, good.
And let's so Flatlanders 3. They have a couple clips of, there's like a congressman questioning a YouTube executive or a Google executive and saying, "What are you doing about misinformation, disinformation?"
YouTube.
And it's like, why does YouTube care? And they goes, "Oh, we're putting a banner up that says flat Earth something or other." Why does YouTube?
It's not true.
Yeah. Why does? So this is directly against the First Amendment of the Constitution.
Yes.
That says the government should not interfere with free speech. And so that's an example of the government directly interfering with free speech in a congressional hearing, and YouTube going, "Oh yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to." Why are they afraid that people are going to, I don't even believe or even consider the idea that the Earth is flat? Why is that such a threat to the government?
That's kind of weird.
It's insane.
That I thought was unusual.
So it's like, why is it a threat for people to question the narrative on the JFK assassination when there is so much evidence that JFK's assassination was more than just a lone gunman? Why is that? I mean, that could make sense. You go, okay, so this makes sense why that's a threat to the government. But Area 51, who cares?
Well, I think we actually mentioned that we thought the government might be involved. Still, you should be able to say what you want, right?
You should. And yes, and the government was probably involved in the JFK assassination. And J. Edgar Hoover was being blackmailed by the mob because he was gay. I mean, and so, which is why he never investigated. Which is why he never investigated the mafia. So, which is out there. I mean, there's people that have documented this stuff. So it's just it's insane.
Another episode we're not going to be able to.
Shocking. This is shocking news that the U.S. government actively suppresses speech in the United States. I can't believe that they do that. And YouTube,
anybody cares.
And YouTube goes along with it. So, hello YouTube. So this one's not going to get. You're not going to have any luck with this episode. Cheers.
Well, I know, just to skip over it. So, Shelley Lewis, friend of the show, has episode 3 of Flat. I always think I can't never find it because I always say Flat Earthers. It's Flatlanders.
Flatlanders
it's
3.
On Vimeo. Yeah, it's on Vimeo. So there's 3 episodes. The production quality is awesome.
Very good.
I mean, they are off the charts. Good. Audio and the video is good. So what did you think about this, though? I mean,
the episode?
I mean, well, the science, shall we say?
The science. Excuse me, I got another burp.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
I haven't had a Dr. Pepper in a long time.
Oh, I live on Dr. Pepper. And my kid is hooked on it now, too. Sugar water.
I haven't drank a soda in a long time.
Oh, yeah, well, you drink other things. You realize how much your health would improve if you altered your imbibe.
Only drank soda.
Only drink soda, yeah. You'd probably lose weight.
Probably, yeah.
That's probably
definitely the vodka and orange juice that's really making the weight go on.
That's probably why
the ribeyes.
Yeah, and I don't think the meat is not doing anything for your weight gain. No. Look at Steve. Look at Steve with his keto diet. He lost weight sticking to meat. It's the bread and the bread.
It's the bread.
Bread, yeah. Yeah, I think that's why soda and bread, which is why I'm gaining weight. So yeah, it was. They talked about. They gave the beginning of the show gave a sort of rundown of the previous episodes where they talked about anomalies with radar and the gyroscope and the flying thing, which I'm not sure I understand 100%. They talked about the Coriolis effect, which I'm not sure there's anything to that. They say that there's no measurable curvature. So the shows are worth watching. You can rent them they're not expensive if you want to check it out.
Yeah, 99 cents for the episode.
Yeah,
or like $1.99 for the series or something.
Well, it's 99.
You rent it or you buy it.
Yeah, if you buy it, it's $1.99. I bought it so I could download it, so I could come back and look at it if I want to in the future. So they talk about. Well, they went out to Bear Lake, Utah, which has 18 miles stretch, and so they were shooting lasers across the lake. And you can, if you're person's at one end of the lake, 18 miles away, you can see the laser light, and they could see the reflection of the laser on the water. So they're saying this is a demonstration. I think they were saying that there should have been 175 feet curvature. So the Earth should curve, if you're between
that's 18 miles is only 6.3 feet. 40 miles is, yeah.
Oh, they're talking about that was Lake Michigan, where it was the higher one.
Yeah.
So the early shows, they were talking about the Earth would like fall away, and they would talk about the fall away from your current location, and I think that was the wrong way to view it. And I spent a lot of time doing the calculations, reinventing the wheel. And
it's interesting because you can go online and there's a
calculator
calculator on there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I had to do it the hard way. And
Use,
so yeah,
use
do
your
it the
tools, Bill.
use my tools, my poor math tools. There was something I was looking at. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was doing. I of course have to look at some. I had to do some simple math after looking at the show, and I was botching it miserably. I'm like, what is wrong with me? And then I had to like look up the formula, which I was getting wrong, which I'd forgotten. So yeah, there's a hump between point A and point B, and you theoretically you should not be able to see the laser beam. And we talked about that previously. There's the spread of the laser beam. There's atmospheric effects. I spent a little time previously trying to sort of research on the internet, which has gotten really hard at finding information. Speaking of disinformation and misinformation,
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot harder just to find information on the internet. There's nobody that talks. I couldn't find an explanation why nobody can tell you why you can see a laser over such a great distance. I mean, they'll throw it out and they'll say, "Oh, it's just atmospheric refraction or reflection or things like that," and that's that's not helpful. I mean, you need a good, solid explanation. And
it's a water droplets in the air, Bill.
That's one of the things they were saying on this. But the guys, we're going to get to that.
What?
We're going to get to that. The guys. So they were doing that, and they could see this laser across Bear Lake, Utah. And the next thing they were talking about was the Mirage on Lake Michigan, which was awesome. Yeah. Where it was 60 miles across, and the weather condition was just right that you could stand on the shore of Lake Michigan and you could see Chicago 60 miles away. You could see the buildings from Chicago. And then they spent some time talking about the difference between a mirage and mirage. You know, they're playing semantics. It was sort of silly. And
they saw Chicago, but it was like still not all the way down to the ground. It was like still looked like.
Well, it was a city, and then there was a blue line. So as they came up with the boat, they said as you got closer, you could see this haze. And they were saying that line was like the haze that you were seeing through that haze, that low, 200 foot or whatever haze.
73 feet is what it was supposed to be.
The height of the haze.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like it really validated their position.
Yeah,
a great deal.
So honestly. Yeah, there were some things and those two guys with the Lake Michigan, they sort of proved their own point. Is that there was a weatherman that they showed some clips from, and he was talking about the Mirage, and then a lot of people complained to the weatherman that came back, and he talked to a scientist at some university, and that guy said the difference is that it was a loomer. And loomer is where the atmosphere is acting like a lens. And so the two guys that were filming this and doing this, one of the guys got one of those flat magnifying sheets from Voldemort's, and he had a picture of the city of Chicago on one side of a table, and he had the sheet between it, and he had his iPhone, and he says as you slid the magnifying sheet across, you could duplicate the effect that they were seeing on the lake. So it's obvious, and that's what this scientist was saying with the loomer. There is obviously a magnification effect happening over the lake. They weren't making a really good point of why this is proof that the Earth is flat.
No.
I mean, the only thing that they demonstrate to me was that, and the guys actually did a better job than the scientist in demonstrating this effect using the flat Frenzel sheet versus the guy, in his laboratory with his heavy-duty optical table and a magnifying glass and a thing painted on the wall. These guys did a better experiment than the scientist, where he says as you slid the sheet, you could actually see sort of that effect that they saw with the skyscrapers would sink down, and you would get a line like they were seeing when they were on the lake or across the lake from it. So they actually experimentally duplicated the effect.
That it's not flat.
Well, I don't know if you can't say one or the other. You can't say one or the other. And what they could, the only thing that you got to limit what your observations are going to tell you. Their observations demonstrated that what they were seeing was the effect of magnification from the atmosphere. It doesn't tell you anything about the relationship between the curvature of the Earth, whether it's flat or not. But it was a great part of the story. Being able to see Chicago across the lake like that was fantastic. And the way that they demonstrated their demonstration that it was a magnification effect was brilliant. It was beautiful. They did a great job. But I don't think that didn't tell me whether it doesn't tell you that the Earth is curved. All it does is tell you that, or flat. Yeah. All it does is tell you that there was a magnification effect happening on Lake Michigan. And why
back to the lake, though. I mean, they did the laser on the lake.
Yeah.
And it hit right 5 feet up.
You can see the laser, yeah,
across the lake. What do you think what do you think about that?
I don't know. I've looked into that. You could say, yeah, it's a refraction, it's magnification, or whatever. I do not have an explanation for what they're seeing. And I've tried to research online to get an understanding of that, and people just sort of throw out, oh, it's refraction, and it's this, that, and the other thing. I'm not getting good explanations for what's going on with that, and don't have enough data, because you need to know the power of the laser, I'm not an optical guy. I used to know a really good optical guy, and I bet you he's at the NIH now. He's a big wig at the NIH guy. Yeah, I'm not going to contact him, but I used to work with this guy. If I still worked with him, I'd just go to him and say, hey, tell me what's going on with this. And then he would just go like that, because he solved some optical problems for me when I was doing research. And this stuff gets tricky.
In a smaller body of water, such as a lake, that's not an ocean. I mean, if this was 18 miles across or something.
Now,
it's almost like it might be like a bowl of water. At the top of the bowl of water, it's perfectly level. And it might be that if it's not the ocean, it's just flat. You know what I mean? It's not really, the curvature of the Earth is curvature of the Earth, but in a small body of water, like a lake would be a bowl, maybe it's just flat on top of that. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not gonna argue against that, because it's I don't know what's going on, and I'm going, that might
occur to me as I was watching it.
That might make sense. But here's another thing: is the Earth and mass curve space. So I can look at my desk. I can look at a ruler. I can shoot a laser across. Oh, that might be the answer too. I can shoot a laser across my yard, and it's going to look perfectly flat. But we're on a surface. Where the space is curved, and I don't know enough about this. So my desk is not perfectly flat because of the Earth and the curvature of the space. By the mass of the Earth, my desk will have a slight curvature to it. So you can't. I mean, you're tying in optics, you're tying in curvature of space, and things like that. So what's going on specifically with the laser on the surface of the lake, I don't know. I haven't seen a good explanation. And it's since people are so afraid of being canceled by YouTube or edited by having their information suppressed, suppressed by their speech being suppressed because of bad think.
We can't consider this.
You can't come out and debunk it. Just tell me why the laser, what's going on, is all these factors. The guys were great that were seeing the city from across the lake, because they explained it very well, and they demonstrated it's a magnification effect. I don't know how it ties in with the curvature of the Earth. So the other thing that was interesting, did you see the guy at Flat Earth Pizza in Carson City? That's near you.
Oh, is it in Carson City?
Carson City. Carson
Well,
City,
I
yeah.
don't have to go over there.
You should go up
Well,
there.
that's
You should go up
Nevada.
and Nevada. Go up there and talk to the guy. And Ryan Walker, a Flat
I
Earth
will.
Pizza, Carson City.
I'll
Let me know.
interview him.
Interview him. Take your phone and do your
Yeah,
mics.
I've got that little mechanisms we
Yeah.
got.
So he actually made a mistake. He was saying that the last photo of the Earth, the only photo that was taken of the Earth, was done by Apollo, the last Apollo 17 in 1972, and that's not true. And that you can verify it. I have my book here, which is, if you give a moose a muffin, oh, it's the size of that. Actually, when I was,
holy crap!
Yeah, this is a book on the moon.
Moon,
man's greatest adventure. And in here, the back half is all blow up pictures of the Apollo missions. And
does it show the Earth in any of that book?
1968.
Yeah.
And that was Borman.
That's just a piece of paper that's folded around a real globe. It's really flat.
So this is the earliest picture of the Earth, and it was taken by, I think, Borman in Apollo 8. That was the one with
I've seen that picture before.
Level that went around the moon. And then that was
it got stars around it? No, they're saying that, look at the picture. Are there stars or is it just black? They were saying that it's always just black.
Always black.
That's why it's one of the reasons they say it's fake, because there's
and then
no
this
stars.
This is the famous moonrise photo.
Are there stars? That's
No.
the Earthrise, but
there's no stars. There's no
so
stars.
What is that?
There's no stars in
That's
space.
weird. I kind of agree.
If you
so I can go the stars out.
If I can go out in my yard and I can take my camera, like this camera over here, I take that camera and I can set it up to take a picture of the moon. And when I take a picture of the moon, there's no stars. And
because the brightness of the moon,
the brightness washes everything out. You can't pick up. But if I take that, and I don't know, if I take that, take it.
I can't see anything tonight because it's raining for 2 days. But next time I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to take a picture of the moon and see see if I get that.
Yeah. So if I take, if I take that picture and I really ramp up the contrast or something on it, I can get dots. But I don't know if that's noise in the sensor or stars. So I have to figure out if I want to do that. I have to figure out the difference between the two. So I have to take a picture of a. What I need to do is compare side by side a picture with the lens cap on, take a picture with the same settings, and then take a picture of the moon and then compare them side by side to see if the dots correspond to the noise in the sensor. And one will be, if they're the 1-to-1, well, maybe it could be just noise. If they're not 1-to-1, it could be stars. But I could also play with some other conditions and see how it goes. But so they did that. So if the Flat Earth pizza guy, which you should go talk to, since he's nearby, you should do an interview and get some pizza.
I didn't realize that he was in Carson City.
Yeah.
Didn't pay attention to where he was. I just figured it was like whatever.
Yeah.
I'll go check him out.
Go talk to the guy.
Go talk to him.
Interview him.
I'm sure he'll talk to me. Yeah, I'm sure.
It'd be great. It'd be great to hear what he's got to say, and ask him. Say, ask him why he says this is the only picture.
Well, you and I will develop a list of questions for him.
Yeah, we can.
I know you're good at that.
Well, I don't need it. I don't need. We just talk to the guy and ask questions. I mean, you don't need. I don't know. He needs to state his thesis of what he thinks going on, and then we would ask our questions based on his statements. So you say this is the last photo. I mean, so that's fine. And then and this is something that bothered me at the time when it came out, that Earth 2.0 picture that guy at NASA put together, which was just irritating. When I saw the news when that came out, and I saw this on the show, it's just irritating.
Have you seen that before? Where that guy, Robert Simon, faked it or something? Yeah,
NASA put that together or something for some reason, and I don't know why they were doing that. But now now they have sent back pictures of the Earth, and it was announced with the Artemis mission. These are the first Earthrise photos since 1972, which is irritating because I guess we haven't sent probes. I guess other countries have sent. China sent probes to the moon and stuff, and probably took pictures of the Earth. But that's also one of these questions of why. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't even know why the guy put together that fake Earth, unless it was for
definitely unusual. Definitely unusual that he did that.
Blue Marble 2.0. Unless it was just. It's not like it was Google Earth or something, which is just they put together satellite photos, but it's a tool. I don't know what they were doing with that. And then the Science Friday clip is missing, I guess. I didn't verify that. Black background. He says put everything in a black background, but I don't believe that. And
you're right. It could just be that because of the way the photography works, that it just washes the brightness of the Earth, since you're filming it from the moon, may wash out the stars.
Well, I see that. You'll see that when you take a picture. You see that when you take a picture of the moon.
What do the Artemis pictures do? Do they have the stars?
There's no stars. There's no stars.
The photography should be better. I just find it weird.
I
don't know.
The cameras.
It's only black.
The cameras on the Apollo missions, they're using, I think, medium format Hasselblads. Excellent cameras. And on high quality Kodak film. So the original pictures from the missions were very good. I think it's just a matter of camera setting based on like I said, I take a picture of the moon, it just washes everything out. And the pictures that, if you're taking a picture of the moon or the Earth, because of the settings on the camera, you're not gonna see the stars.
Oh, Orion's all black too. It doesn't have any star points on it. I haven't seen any of the Earth pictures from Orion yet. I'm sure they're there somewhere.
They were posting them.
Everywhere.
They were posting them. They were out there, and they're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. I mean,
Why are they just okay? The technology is fucking awesome now. What?
I'm not sure. The pictures. Yeah. I mean, they were 1080p quality, I think, but they're not. I mean, they weren't they're good cameras, but they're not spectacular.
It's in an iPhone up there.
Yeah,
good, right?
Yeah, iPhones are good. So other than that, atmospheric lensing, I actually think they talked about looming. So yeah, it was interesting. I like the part about the Chicago skyline and those guys' investigation of the magnification effect, and the way they dealt with it and analyzed it was outstanding. I don't think that this has filled me with optimism that the Earth is actually flat. Oh, they were also talking about the guy at Flat Earth Pizza. He was talking about the globe, the picture of the Earth, and then they would show a picture of the sun on the Earth and say this is different. They're not showing enough, and they didn't really explain the difference between the two things that they were seeing. And I mean, that might be a question that, if you get a chance to talk to the guy, to ask him to explain that difference. That would be interesting. And I think we're at an hour, and we've talked enough of shocking stuff, and probably upset
everything shocking,
and upset the government censors at YouTube.
Well, what are you gonna do, Bill?
What are you gonna do? You got when you live in a
what kind of society are we living in right now?
I don't know, not a fun one. Oh God! All right.
Thanks for.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and you want to talk about the Gary Nolan thing next week? The interview.
Yeah, I'll get a chance to finish.
Yeah, finish that. That was it's a good interview. Just check it out. We'll talk about it, and then what other we figure out for next week.
Cool. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome questions, comments, and requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website at alienprobe.net. This carries all of our episodes. Twitter and Instagram at alienprobepod. Like and subscribe on YouTube at Alien Probe Podcast. Punch that in, you'll bring it right to the top. Thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony, the LA Robert Anthony now, Hollywood. And once again, Dr. Bill, thank you.
Okay.
And we will see you guys next week.
We'll see you. Watch the skies.
Watch the skies.